This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneurs the Playbook, and I have Malcolm McCassy. He is the founder and partner of an extraordinary company called Ethika. And Ethika, if you don't know, is a undergarment for boys. It was girls and boys now, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, we're here to talk about Malcolm, your playbook to success, right? You've exited, in a sense, from Ethika, but you built this business. And what I want you to do is share the philosophies of the challenges that you had, and then moving forward, we're really going to get into how that playbook success has really developed your entire life. So starting with, a lot of people just want to know as entrepreneurs, what was the background in order to start an underwear company?
I'm going to try and sum this up the best I can because my life has been a little bit of a fun,
Can't
crazy.
connect the dots forward, man. It has to be crazy.
But I do have certain things connected to inspiration and mentors that I looked up to, and I was part of No Fear at a young age.
Nice.
So started in the warehouse. Bought my first car working in sweatshop, little automobile places, and it taught me responsibility. And I wasn't going to stop even if the job was nasty and grueling and I'd have like grease all over my fingers.
How do you keep a positive perspective? So one of the things that I teach is I'm like you, and I can tell it in your eyes. No matter what I was doing, I learned to love it. Was there a trick for you? Because you were all grimy, you weren't being paid a lot, you're in the warehouse. What was the inspiration that you kept? Because you saw the other guys that weren't inspired, and they didn't end up where you and I ended up. And I think it's because of that selective perspective that we had.
I think one thing that really sinks into my head now when I look back was I had the most success by not getting distracted by the loud noise. So I wasn't listening to all these people that hadn't physically done what I had done. I didn't know this at the time. And then secondly, and I think when I did start listening, that's when my life got interesting because suddenly I was losing businesses, losing, things that I built because I wasn't a business guy. I was an entrepreneur as a kid that teachers back then said I was most likely to not succeed. Right. I had a chipped tooth, a mullet. I was a chubby little kid. I raced motorcycles from like the age 5 till probably 21.
And those voices, the people, the doubters, the people that want you to be a copy of them, they're always there, and they're probably still there, even though you've had extraordinary success in the space. Give me, moving from there, the next step where those voices were telling you, maybe in starting, as you had a great career, kind of building from No Fear to Oakley. Was that another one?
My brother was at Oakley.
Yeah.
So No Fear owned Spy. So I was No Fear Spy. And then I got to, interesting enough, like a sales rep, they're able to do multiple, non-conflicting product categories. Yeah. So I had No Fear for clothing. I was a marketing manager from warehouse to, I worked in the apparel side. That's what taught me about forecasting, colors, prints, because I worked with Ross Neglia, who helped develop all the fixed waist pants and cut and sew tops for No Fear.
Nice.
And so that was a great experience because I didn't know what marketing was, and it taught me that you had to be a year to two in advance of what was going to be hot in order to get that production cycle and everything there. That's when I started going, wow, this is interesting. I was taking communication in college now. So a lot of my career is between, I guess I was about 18 to 24 was when a lot of stuff evolved. So No Fear taught me such a mix of life and culture. I got to work with these entrepreneurs. Beaver Theodosakis, he's like my favorite guy, in the world, and his wife Pam. And so Beaver was one of the co-founders of Life's a Beach, No Fear,
building brands,
Spy, and then he obviously built Prana, which he sold to Columbia for I think 180 million. So that was probably one of the greatest guys, and he was a CEO of Spy. People like that are the ones that kind of help guide me and give me that kind of understanding. And I think back to the experience of that is those are the good ones I listen to. And then the noise didn't really come till later. So that a lot of my success, when I say went through 25, 26, 27, 28, I wasn't bothered because lot of them, I just didn't let anyone stop me. And so a lot of the motivation, my parents separated when I was 2. I saw a lot of interesting things at a young age. And one of my spiritual life coaches, he's like, go 30,000 feet out and tell me when you were mad and you were angry. I'm like, and it was like 20 minutes in this chair, and I'm not going to lie to this guy. I'm like, I couldn't find it. What I realized was I wasn't mad at anything or angry at what I saw. If anything, I realized it came when I realized I couldn't help these people that were suffering and going through hard times, and it inspired me. So the reason why that's so important is we're all unique to our upbringing and our DNA, and it's how we start to kind of push through and move. I just love people. I love helping. I love paying forward. So
You're on the right show then.
yeah, hey, you're amazing, by the way. Like, I see a lot of your stuff and I see your heart, and there's a lot of people out there, and it's like, I've seen a lot of your stuff with Gary Vaynerchuk and different people. There's a heart, and I always say heart bearing.
Nice.
I lead with the heart bearing, like a wheel or like anything. How I roll through life is inspiring others. So why that's relevant is it leads to everything I've touched and to Ethika and brands that I built. It's not about me. It was about inspiring others, and all it was a tangible product that had a value that I could then take a portion of that to give back to charities and people in need.
It's so amazing because, I do a lot of executive coaching, life coaching. My coach, my parents separated at 5. Same exact exercise, but different. Told me, look within, go down into myself. And he's like, find yourself within yourself. And so I'm going down into myself, and I'm like, oh, I found myself. He goes, where are you? I'm like, in my stomach.
Yeah.
Right? And this is actually like my eyes closed visualizing. And then he says, how old are you? And I immediately said 5. Right?
Wow.
And then he had me have a conversation with my 5-year-old self to be like, it's okay. It's not your fault. You're not responsible. I still get choked up because it's emotional inside of me, that exercise. And I think a lot of people that are executives in business, entrepreneur, don't understand the emotional side of why we do what we do in order to be extraordinary, to not be a copy of someone else, to bear down with the heart bearings that you have. There has to be something inside of you that I think is different. And that confidence in your difference is what the noise means nothing. The quit isn't there. You're enjoying it because you're pursuing it and you're inspired. You then, through this career and this philosophy, you have, don't listen. I want to hear the story. I'm sure when you came, it's like Bezos. I'm sure when he went to his family and friends for their round and said, hey, I want a bookstore in my garage. Someday I'll be worth $100 billion. Don't worry. I love, the fact that you've been in this industry and you probably went to your family and friends and said, oh, that's cool. I'm going to make an underwear company.
Oh my gosh. Why you got
How much noise was there?
There was a lot of noise because the laughter was so, I can remember it like it was yesterday. When I say some of the greatest mentors, like my brother working at Oakley, he would talk to Jim Gennard and Jamin and say the idea that I was having because he'd be at dinner at their house and he'd be like, it's not a billboard, it's not this and that. How are you going to sell one for 25 when Vans and Volcom can't sell a 3-pack for 10?
Right.
Back to the point, the noise was loud. I'm a kid that literally wasn't built and didn't have like mentorship. I didn't read books till I was 33, 34. Wow. And I've read about 55, 60 in the last couple, 2 to 3 years. And I'm like, I was so naive to not understand like the art of war, thick face, black heart, leadership and self-deception.
Think and Grow Rich?
Think and Grow Rich was amazing. I actually,
I always mention that. It's my favorite.
Oh yeah, I love the original from it when he do audio.
Yeah.
His voice, because I have so much respect for heritage because people like yourself that have paved and built have been the ones. I'm not the guy that's like the super creator. I just saw what people were doing and the impact they were making, and I was like, wow, I wonder if I could do that.
I think what happens with people that are older than us, one of my mentors is 70, and I kind of said the same things, hey, you're the creator. He goes, no, we're just doing the exact same thing you did. It's just an evolution. Yeah. We're accessing that information. So you build this great company. Now's a really interesting part for the playbook to success. What do we do when we're successful? Like, what drives you now? And, you are the founder, you are a partner in it, just consulting now because your values changed or your perspective changed on what you wanted to do?
I mean, being completely transparent is I am trying so hard to figure out myself, and probably sometimes I think I'm reading too many books because I'm taking in so much information and versus really diving deeper into who I am and figuring out my purpose and accessing my why so I can truly access my rise. And I think that's where I'm having a fun time in the journey. But the great thing is it's always a foot forward. And so like when I think about where I'm going, I just know that becoming a dad, becoming a family guy, my priorities have completely shifted. My phone rings a lot with 10 people. It used to, I've traveled the world since I was 17 years old. Career-wise was No Fear owned Spy, so I did No Fear and Spy. One of my original best friends, my groomsmen at my wedding were Jeremy McGrath, Travis Pastrana, and Ryan Sheckler.
Nice.
So the reason I say those three is because those are literally some of. I signed Pastrana at age 10, and he's now, 36, I think.
You work with Drama too? He's one of my favorites.
Drama's amazing. And one of my good friends, Kevin Delaney, who actually...
Greg Lutzka? Is that
Greg
another?
Lutzka's amazing.
Yeah, those are all
those
good
are all
guys.
Great guys.
Great skaters.
Yeah.
Guys that we work with. And
Yeah.
I figured birds of a feather flock together.
100%, yeah.
And so having kids, I think one of the biggest challenges I have coaching and helping people and trying to give them clarity on is they have a misconception of balance.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have the same perspective that you're looking within to figure out the most relative relationships to yourself. We can't achieve balance, right? In the end of our lives, we can maybe look back and say, hey, 25% of my life was for my personal values, my family, my health, my education, 25% experiential. I got to go to Fiji and, help Africa. Giving 25% of just always focused on helping others, and 25% receiving, which I always think is the most difficult. People don't know how to receive. And if I can get more people to learn to receive, they'll give more away, because the more they have, the more they'll give. I actually have a Meltzer conversion rate, which I call the 120 rule, right? So you give $100 to get 20 back, but it is a conversion rate that converts money to good deeds. Like that's the currency that I did with, money to faith is the conversion. You went through the Meltzer conversion rate in your life because you had this family and we both shared probably not the most ideal family growing up. And I think you wanted to accelerate that. How did you go about doing that? And how do you go about doing it and improving it?
Man, it's such a great question. And I almost have to fast forward into it. I had an amazing family. My parents just separated, and so we had a lot of interesting components. My mom was a giver and a caretaker, so our house had so many people that she was trying to save and help. That's who a lot of what I got. My dad was an entrepreneur. Yeah. He's in the history books for surfing. The inside break at Swami's is called Malcolm's Reef.
Yeah, he's friends with my Uncle Larry, who founded professional surfing. He's in the Hall of Fame with your dad here in Huntington Beach. I know the name.
I can't believe we haven't met before this, because I'm
separate lives.
I look up to your career.
Past lives. Yeah. We met. Yeah. This is we're just reuniting.
So Ethika was my college degree. I learned so much through that because I wasn't a business guy, and so I had people. When I never really understood my worth, so I was that the plane, the oxygen mask. I was always putting it on everyone else, but not myself. So I had to learn over the last 5 years to put it on myself. To your point, so then I could actually be more valuable to people. And so I didn't know that though, and so I thought I was doing good by this, but suddenly my mom's all, Malcolm, you've made so many millionaires around the world. It's time you breathe and get your foundation set up so you can better help people. So what you're saying resonates so amazingly to me, because I literally was skating through my career. I don't have a resume even right now. My LinkedIn is blown out. I took off actually everything I've done, because everyone looks at you and goes, "What? Look at this guy! He's done everything."
Yeah.
I got to work with Michael Jordan when I was at Alpine Stars, and literally fly to Chicago and work with someone I never thought I'd meet. My brother Jeremy, Jordan was on the board at Oakley. Never got to meet him.
You're Forrest Gump.
And I get to fly to Chicago, and I'm drinking Grey Goose on the rocks with Michael Jordan, and then he ends up flying his jet to Valencia, Spain. I meet him there, put him on a Ducati in front of 300,000 people at MotoGP, and I'm with this guy. He rents out the whole floor, and I'm partying with him and Charles Oakley. And it all started with going with my gut. The call that got me connected was Michael Jordan, his boys Damondo, Ice, and Casme. That sounds like characters in a cartoon.
Right.
And they sent me over an IMG proposal that looked like it was scripted.
Handwritten.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, this is so ghetto. There's no way this is real. And so I was at Alpine Stars, which is like the Nike of motorsports.
Know it well.
So I'm running the global communications, and I'm going, I went 2 weeks, and all of a sudden Ice puts this guy on the phone that's Michael Jordan. For all I knew, it's Michael Jordan, because I've been played by potential LL Cool J's that are LL Cool J's. It's not like people used to be able to get free
Dred
product.
Zeppelin calling.
Yeah, Dred Zeppelin called. And so all of a sudden Jordan gets on the phone, he hands it back. I hear him in the background. We need to move fast. He doesn't believe that it's really so let's get him out here. That experience is about a lot of how my life has went. It's by just doing good, loving, and I went out there, flew out on a red eye, showed up, and sure enough, I'm going through the process. I see a 1 of 5 Bugatti out front, and I go in. The reason why it's so relevant is Jordan, to me, was one of the 2 people, maybe him and the president,
still is,
that I would never be able to meet. Then also you hear so many things about people, and man, so many people are judging by a look, by like if I meet J-Lo right now and she's, I'm excited and she's like kind of like a little negative or something, I don't know what's going on in her life. But Jordan, I hear, he's mean, he's this, he's that. I walk into a guy, I had pink in my hair, dyed pink, and I look like I was a mess.
It's a good time.
Good time. I walk in, and sure enough, I see this Jordan guy. The reason why that's so valuable is he treated me so great. I helped get his road bike team launched, and that to me was like how I kind of approach everything, whether it's the kid at the grocery store bagging stuff. I look at that kid, I'm like, that kid is somebody. And that to me is so huge.
This is the whole extraordinary and ordinary problem. Ordinary people want everyone to be ordinary like them. So it's actually extraordinary people, likes attract likes, attract extraordinary people. And so the pink hair, the different jobs, it's funny because I've changed the signature in my email for the same reason, because I was tired of getting people that gave me a whole biography under their name. Best-selling author, keynote speaker, blah, 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 top TV show, podcast. And I was like looking at mine going, wait a second, I'm falling into this. So I just put res ipsa loquitur, that which speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you're extraordinary. That's what happens when you do look within and believe in yourself and say, hey, look, this is just a journey. And if I put everything I have into my journey with the right attitude, perspective, and values, it's going to be fine, and trust that. And one quick question too, because I think it's important for entrepreneurs and just people in general. There seems to be, and I'm blessed to do this all the time, the same trait of, I knew in my gut to go. I took the red eye, right? Like I look for people that take action. Is there some way you can explain, because we're both the same. I'm like, of course I'd go.
Yeah.
But there's 99% of the people won't go. What is it inside of you that you rely on or think about or in these situations, and there's probably hundreds in your life that you picked up the phone, nobody else would do it, but you're like, I'm there. And I've flown overnight to New York for stuff like this and came back the same day so I could tuck my son in because we have same family values. But people thought I was insane. I'm like, I just made so much money. If somebody would have up front told me, hey, I'll give you $2 million to fly to New York and back today, who wouldn't say yes? But for some reason in my soul, I'm like, this is worth it. What is it, and where do you find it?
I enter everything so unselfishly that it is always my gut. So when I go, I don't want anything back. I don't need anything back. And I also, I don't know if this makes sense, but I came up and I was telling your guys here, I was saying, the other day I was thinking about it, I'm like, when you're young, you want to make, 5 figures and 6 figures and 7 figures and 8 figures. And we see so many people that have all this money but no happiness. And it's because the only figure that matters is yourself. You are the single figure that can change everything. And so if you really can hone in and figure out who you are, I'm very emotional. I'm a high EQ. I will destroy people in a room on an EQ because I care so much that I will solve that what and that why. And that's how I built Ethika. I mean, Ethika was ethics, athletics, ethnicity. It was dominant but ended in an A because I want equality. I actually truly believe I can help bring the world to peace one person at a time. And that's why since stepping down from Ethika, I've been trying to figure out what that next move is. Most importantly, understanding this figure. Because if I don't, my figures they're not worth anything to me. I mean, I'm not going to take them to my grave. And so for me, it's like, I actually didn't even want to really do this podcast with you. I wanted to hang out with you because
vice versa. Yeah, that's good.
I mean, this is fun because it feels that way, but I'm also like something about this David guy, I don't even care what's under his title and what books he's written, even though I bought your book.
Thank you.
And by the way, that's one of 2 to 3 I bought and purchased that aren't audios.
A huge compliment. Thank you.
No, respect. I love what you're doing. And but the gut is so crazy, and people are so worried about fear of other people's opinions, fear of all these different things versus just living, being, breathing, and going. So I always say, like, I turn the word accessory and accessorize, and I put a Y over both those. If you can access your why, then you can truly access your rise. And one of the brands that I have trademarked, which I've been having fun dabbling with, is called Mended. MENDID. It's about mending the right things around your life, the quality, because it's your life, it's your journey, and all the figures won't make you happy. Figure yourself out what's important to you, and Mended is MENDID. Me, in the end, I did.
Nice. And that's just gold to me, because I just had a thought today, and you subscribed, as someone was talking about, their pursuit of money, and this is where I came up with this conversion rate, right? Like, the only reason you want more money is to create more good deeds.
Yeah.
Right. And this selfless nature. And you just, if you're listening to this, by the way, I get these all the time. If you don't rewind and listen to that last response, the whole thing of the philosophy, the perspective, and the inspiration behind it, that's the gold. It was been articulated in a way that I haven't done it, but I was resonating. I feel the same way. We've known each other for lifetimes, but reunited now with a mission. And one of my missions, which is aligned with you, is you really are about helping people feel good or be happy. And I think we have a happiness problem. And last question, with your new mission, your family present, community focused, but introspectively, an introspective journey, meaning you're really into the personal journey so you can make more money, help more people, and have more fun with your life and help others do that. Where can you help people be happy? Is there advice or somewhere you can send them or something you've read? I'm really trying to get 1,000 people like you that can impact 1,000 to impact 1,000, and you absolutely are one that I know can do this, because we can create 1 billion happy people. This world will change. Everyone will be abundant. There's more than enough. Like the economy, the environment, everything will change with happy people. Where and what advice would you give them as a last question, and most importantly, to impact if all those terrific philosophies and experience? What would you suggest someone does if they're feeling depressed, anxious, if they're on opiates? And it's a huge issue, and most of them are young people, and we got to solve it. So I know this is a huge. I don't usually ask the hard ones, but is there something that you can share with us that will at least help as a catalyst or send someone on the right direction?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with everyone out there that's going and suffering through these same things. We're all human, and like I said, whether you're making whatever figures or you're at the start of your career or you come from a broken home, you got to just understand there's going to be a lot of loud noise in your head, but you got to dive a little deeper and understand that the noise is actually, it's a bunch of just invisible clouds that don't exist or speed bumps that aren't really there. And if you could start to look at each one and figure out what you can do versus what you can't do, what's in your control versus what's out of your control, you can kind of start to make those steps to break through that barrier and get to that light. Because sometimes everyone talks about purpose. You have to go through things and experience things, but everything you're going through and all these hardships are actually what's giving you the tools, no setbacks, just setups to position yourself in a great way. And so, I mean, sometimes you just got to have a little alone time, or if it's friend time or it's family time, and really just take a second, because sometimes the only one getting in the way of my success is myself. And so if you think you could be the problem, you probably are. So if we can look into ourselves and really figure that out, you're going to get through this, and you're going to learn. If that breakup was nasty and you're like, oh my God, I'm over it. I have hundreds of friends that went through the nastiest breakups that are the happiest I've ever seen them. Both mom,
setup.
It's all setups. It's like, so I just encourage you to kind of go through that. And also too, it's your life. There's a unique part of you that everyone that works with you, all these, internships and all these great, I can't be that. No one can be that. Only they can. So really take the time to understand that I'm still trying, as I get older, to understand that, because everyone always says they put these like titles and certain things. The reason I love hip hop is because hip hop puts more meaning to words than the dictionary.
Right.
Because
like
they actually went through it. They're not just sitting there going, "Oh, that
Eminem great,
great
right?
is super
duper." Make
Eminem
great. Why you still sit there singing his stuff?
Yeah,
and
look at
Snoop as well.
Yeah, look at Meek Mill right now. That's one of my friends, and like that guy has went through the darkest of dark, from jails, this and that, and then Michael Rubin and Robert Kraft and all these guys believed in this person that they probably didn't know the best, and now look at him. There's like this reform, and you've got this Jay-Z's in, and the world's shifting. Don't judge, just love.
Yeah.
Push yourself to push forward, and also just help and love. And it's such a fun world right now. And I think every single person in the world has an opportunity to make that smile. And the best gift that we all have is that smile. I actually get a kick out of every day when I look and I see that long face, or something like, oh, I'm going, that person has something going on. I have no idea what it is. Let me prove that I can do something.
Bring them light.
Hey, what's up? I like your shirt. And they're like, all of a sudden you sit there, they get out of that funk. Remember, if someone's not encouraging you, surround yourself with the right people, because you deserve the encouragement, and you're only as good as the people around you. So, and you set a good example for that, Dave.
That's no doubt. I'm thinking of Wayne Dyer as you're talking. He's one of my mentors, and just, I still listen to him almost every day. But, I think best said by Malcolm McCassy here, the founder of Ethika. there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way, right?
Totally.
So if you're looking in, like you just have to find happiness as the way. So any setback that occurs, if happiness is the way, then it's a setup.
Totally.
And whether you think it is or it isn't, either way, you're right. Thank you, Henry Ford, or whoever said it before him. And there needs to be more people listening to Malcolm. I'm so glad that you're on your next journey. I will give you my cell phone. We're going to get more done together. And I appreciate you taking the time to come on the Playbook and share what I think is one of the most inspirational and insightful ways to be happy and successful with whatever you want to achieve. So thank you so much, Malcolm, for coming on.
Thanks so much. This is amazing. Thanks for having me.
You're amazing. This is Dave Meltzer with Malcolm McCassy, founder of Ethika with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook.